Blake Production.
What is poppin'? Let's talk about Bitcoin and all these miners. Why aren't the miners going up, but Bitcoin has been going up? I think this is the question a bunch of people are asking on X. So we're going to start with Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, right? What's happening? ETFs just got approved. Okay, well, if they just got approved, why isn't it not going to 100,000 then? Like, it's just not that simple. You have to start thinking of it from a supply-demand perspective. There's shares of Bitcoin that are tradable right now, right? So there's an outstanding supply of shares, right? Whatever's left that's tradable is going to go through a bunch of volatility, right? In order to cause the price to dramatically increase, you need to eat up all those shares that's available for trade right now in the market, and then you need to go for the coins that aren't tradable that people are gonna, raise the bid on. Like, that's essentially what it is. That's what's happening. And then a good analogy for that here, you could think of it like this. This is a good analogy, right? So this is a tweet from Brian Dement here. So you don't get to pick the apples from the tree until all the apples on the ground have been cleaned up. In other words, you need to clear out the tradable Bitcoin before you get to the coins that will actually move the price, right? This is just, it's basic supply and demand. So you have to, man, this isn't, people really think that Bitcoin is just some magic internet money. People don't really understand, like, no, this is a open market and people are trading an open market. It's going to take time. If you look here, technically Bitcoin for the entirety of December went sideways. Like, it didn't break out until January 8th, a month later, right? It didn't get a move that 7% until a month later. If you really look at it, right? It takes time. It's going to happen. And that's why they keep saying, like, I guess the theme that's going on in the market is that slowly and then suddenly. That's what's going to happen. Right now is just not the time for it to suddenly dramatically increase in price up to 57, 65, 85K. It's going to take a lot of time for that to happen. Now, let's look at some miners, okay? So we're going to bring up a bunch of these miners, okay? And I think it's important to understand, where are we on these charts, right? So let's look at Iris Energy here. Where are we on Iris Energy? Okay, again, log chart. It's a little bit easier on some of them to see it, but let's just mark out basic resistance and support, right? So this level right here was a point in the chart that we struggled with, right? Like, look how long it took for us to break up over this level and then hold it, right? Over here we couldn't hold. We dramatically went below, right? Over here, you see, like, I think the market does a great job of overreacting, because if you really think about this, like, it's only down 36%, but it also went up in like 8 weeks. It went up 240%. What needs to happen is on Iris Energy, and a lot of the miners look like this. We have this move to the upside. Now we just need to develop a base, catch up with the 21 EMA, right? Before we continue upward. This might take the entire first quarter. It might. So that's Iris Energy, right? Let's look at HUT. Okay, HUT is a little bit different because there was the reverse split, but it's really not that different, though, in my opinion. Just like, take a step back, look at the chart again, mark out clear zones in the chart. Like, this is a clear zone that has been rejected, and this is where we're sitting at, right? There's nothing to freak out about, because the stock has been acting. This level right here is a major support, so we can mark out this level as well, right? Like, if you get lucky enough to buy again at this level, man, if the stock's price comes back down to this level, it's been previously shown that this has been our support since March 2023 here. You could drag this out even further if you wanted to. Look, it's a zone that was playable all the way back until June 2022, right? So this is how you have to look at HUT. What's happening from this perspective? If you're looking at it from a bearish perspective, then sure, start marking out head and shoulders patterns. This is the neckline, and it's going to come all the way back down to $5 or $4. That's the bearish perspective. I don't think now's the time to be bearish in terms of market sentiment. Now, let's move on. CBIT, right? Sideways. Nothing's changed in this. We're still in a major zone. Let it develop before freaking out. Like, I think once we start to see Bitcoin go parabolic, it's going to be the same time you see the Iris Energies, the Huts, the Bit Farms. They're going to be back down to their 21 EMA or major previous resistance zones, right? So again, here we go, Bit Farms. Let this shit develop. That's all that's happening right now. Big money comes in, drives the price up. Now this might take some time to consolidate as the 21 EMA also catches up before we get this move to the upside, right? So we have this major zone that we've been trying to break over since May 2022. And now we get this bullish move to the upside, and people want it to keep going. So people who buy in up here are thinking, wait, what the heck? How come it's going down? And then they're going to start selling, which is going to cause a cascade of price movement to the downside. And all that's happening here is we're probably going to end up retesting this point, develop a pace, right? Something like this before we get a move to the upside. That's what we need to look for, right? Mara, very technically sound here. Inverse head and shoulders, we break the neckline. Maybe now we just need a few weeks consolidating over here before we get a move to the upside. That's what's happening on all these miners, right? All these miners are starting to pump a little too hard away from their 21, and now it's just time to come back, right? Coinbase, like it's so eye-opening when you just start to mark out these levels. Look at the 21 EMA, we're a little bit extended away. Maybe we need to come back and retest this zone. That's all that's happening here. So I do think the MSTR, look how it's used the 21 EMA, right? Look at this wedge pattern. So if you look at this weekly time frame, it's just a clear patterns that set up on some of these names. It becomes easier to see after a few weeks it's been developing, right? So we get this nice bullish move to the upside, creates a wedge. Bullish move to the upside. Now we're starting to consolidate here. What if we're just looking for, again, a higher low around the 21 EMA before we get a move to the upside? Whether it looks like a flag or a wedge or a channel. Maybe that's what's going on here before we get this move to the upside. Maybe it takes a quarter. I think that the patience here is what's needed, especially on X, man. You see X and people are freaking out that the miners are, oh, the miners are going to zero, all the miners are this. Like, give it some time. This needs to develop. This is a crazy volatile market, right? So here's Riot. Look at the daily chart, right? The daily chart looks horrible. Look at this. What happened? Oh my God, I went down 15% in one day. Oh my God, this stock's going to go to zero. Zoom out to the weekly time frame. What's happening? Well, it could just be retesting this zone here, and you can move this down. It's probably around here, right? It could be just retesting this, wanting to retest this $11 zone. That's it. Like, it literally might just be doing something like this. We come up, we come back down, create a higher low, come up, create a higher low, boom. That's what everyone's waiting for. Everyone wants that to happen, but they don't want the patience it takes in order for that to happen. Like, it's very interesting. I think right now, you wait. You look at Wulf, right? What's happening with Wulf? Well, this here is a low. Over here is a higher low. We get this strong move up, consolidate sideways, strong move up. Now we need to maybe consolidate sideways for a little bit. Whether it's something that looks like this. Boom, now we get a move. That's 1/4. That's 1/4. Like this is it takes a lot of patience, right? And look at the zone, right? The zones matter as well. Where they consolidate at are significant zones. So these matter big time. So when you're looking at the minors, take the time, look left, and really think about where we are in the chart. Like this is just going to take some time. Now that I'm looking at Wulf here, we have this trend line here, right? This trend line. What happens if this takes the rest of 2024 to consolidate sideways before we get a massive breakout in 2025? Would you be ready for that? It's something you should maybe think about though. Maybe think about that. That could potentially happen, right? Where we have this sort of sideways consolidation. We play in this range. Look how bullish that setup looks like. And then leading into 2025, we have this breakout. Are you ready for that to happen? Because maybe that's what's boiling up. So again, like patience, my friends. This is as badly as you want things to moon. You have to think about all, like for example, let's go right back to Iris Energy or Bitfarms. That'll work. Look at how long this took to go sideways. This was January 2023 to November 2023. All of that for 3-4 weeks of up only. Man, it's gonna take time. This is where people get trapped right here. People get trapped because they think, oh my god, like I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna get rich next week. Oh my god, look at how it went up 200%. It's gonna go to the moon now. It just needs time. That's it. Before this to continue, it's gonna need a lot of time. That's the breakdown on a bunch of these guys. Easy.